Hey everyone, my name is Josh, and this is an all achievement speedrun of Minecraft. The goal is to get every achievement in the game as quickly as possible, and it is done using a duplication glitch, which makes it more reasonable to get achievements like Beaconator and On a Rail. Well, On a Rail is due to another glitch that makes minecarts move faster. We use hard difficulty because it makes zombies more likely to be able to pick items up. And like most Minecraft speedruns that use glitches, we use an in-game timer that counts in-game ticks to account for different loading times between different players that have different powered machines. Anyway, at the start here, we're going to get our first achievement, which is, well, first we're going to get taking inventory, but we do need to collect some wood to start. So we get getting wood and taking inventory just like that, and we're going to do a duplication right away because we waste less in-game time duplicating the 3 wood as opposed to collecting 3 more. Now, the method for duplicating items is to drop them on the ground, save and quit the title, then go pick them up, and then Alt F4, which force quits the game. And while the game saves the items that are on the, or does not save the items that have changed on the ground, it does save your inventory, so you get double. Anyway, here we get benchmarking, and we're going to start crafting our basic tools. We make a hoe, a pick, and a sword, which gets us time to mine, time to farm, and time to strike, and then we're going to get ourselves some better tools. So we're going to get ourselves getting an upgrade with the stone pick. Now, you may be wondering why I'm getting the sword now, because obviously I'm going to make a better sword later, and that will also get us time to strike. The reason for that is because we want to get cow tipper before we make a better sword. And if we don't get cow tipper in this next segment, we won't have the achievement ready for when we need to get when pigs fly. Now here I get 1 iron, and I'm going to duplicate the iron in the wood a couple times. I used to wait for 6 iron to smelt because there's 6 iron in that patch down there, but I think it's much faster from an in-game time perspective not to wait the 50 seconds. During that time before, I would get wood, and I know you can also get flint in that time. But I've decided that that wastes enough time, and I can get flint fast enough anyway, that it's not really worth it to do that. So anyway, obviously you're going to notice early on in the run when I don't have much stuff, I'm going to be abusing the duplication glitch a lot to collect more things, which is just an unfortunate circumstance of a run like this that demands so many items. Most notably, we're going to need to get Beaconator, which requires, I think it's 164 metal blocks. So obviously that's fairly unreasonable to get in any short amount of time that would be reasonable for a speedrun, which is also the reason you'll probably never see an all achievements glitchless speedrun. But anyway, once we get up to 8 iron, we have enough for what we need right now. With that 8 iron, we're going to want an iron shovel, a bucket, and once we get flint, we need a flint and steel. And we're going to get all that before we have to duplicate the iron again. The bucket will obviously be used for water. I actually only use the water once in the entire run. I think I do use it a couple extra times, but it's only necessary to have once. So anyway, I also make a boat there, just to get across this lake a little bit faster. You might be able to sprint along the side there, but I like the boat. It's reliable other than the fact that boats in Minecraft 1.8 are not very good. So anyway, the flint comes very fast, which is nice. I do get a second flint there because there are some chickens in this forest that will get us arrows, which is an important thing for taking out the Ender Dragon. I also used flint and steel there to kill the pig. That's the best way to get cooked meat, which cooked meat won't be our food source for that long, but it does get us up into the stronghold, so we need a little bit of it. And it will also get us up to the desert temple that's we're coming up to ahead. Another thing that's important to be noteworthy, or it's important to note, is that throughout the run, we need to hit all 36 biomes for the achievement Adventure Time. Adventuring Time is a very annoying achievement to plan around, and you're going to see me go out of the way at multiple points just to get biomes for Adventuring Time. And One thing to notice about, or that's annoying about these biome triggers, is that you have to sit in them for a couple seconds, otherwise it doesn't register. So occasionally you'll miss one biome trigger just because you didn't sit in it long enough. I lost a bunch of runs to that. Mesa Plateau F is one of the big culprits. Anyway, we get cow tipper right there. Cow tipper, like I said, is important because we get when pigs fly from it. We don't need the cow or the leather though, so I get rid of that. Now, usually there are chickens around here, and I didn't find them this time. I actually thought I saw them there, but that was just a lilac. So with this, we actually do need to rely on finding a skeleton. And if I don't find a skeleton before I get to the portal room, the end portal room that is, it's basically a reset, because you do need arrows to take out the ender crystals in the end. So anyway, coming up here we have a desert temple. The desert here is our 4th biome. We hit both birch forest and birch forest hills and forest already. So this desert temple doesn't really have anything super special, but we do get some gold, 1 diamond, which is nice, and we get a saddle, which is needed for when pigs fly. Now you hear a skeleton here. That guy's in the desert temple, and there he is. So that's really good luck, except that he doesn't drop anything. So we still need our arrows for later. Anyway, just pillar out of this desert temple. Now this is going to be one of those instances where, this is the first time really in the run, where you do go a little bit out of the way just to hit a biome trigger. Up on this little hill right ahead is a desert hills biome, and this is about the only place reasonable in the run, or that it's reasonable in the run to hit it. So now we're going to do a little bit more duplication. We're going to dupe our metals and our food a little bit. We don't really need much food here. We don't need to get the steak to more than 8, or I guess it's pork chop this time. Sometimes I get steak. I don't think I'm going to do that anymore since I dupe the pork chops at the beginning now. But yeah, 8 is enough to get us through to when we switch to another source of food, which you'll see later. If you know the achievement tree, you'll know what it is. But anyway, I think this duplication happens 3 times, which gets us enough, or that will get us to 8 diamonds. 8 diamonds is a number that is good for us because I can make a diamond pickaxe right now, and that will only drop me to 5 diamonds. And I'm going to dupe the rest of the diamonds, or the diamonds again, to get armor, a sword, and an axe later. But we do need the pickaxe so I can mine some obsidian, or a piece of obsidian, which we'll get to later. So anyway, this is the 3rd dupe here. I actually don't succeed in this one. I'm not really sure what I did wrong, but whatever it is, the duplication didn't work. It's something that happens sometimes, and I'm not really sure why. I don't know what I did wrong there compared to any other dupe, but it is what it is. Dupes don't cost too much time in the in-game time. They do cost a little bit in the real time, but the real time isn't super important for this run. So anyway, the things that we'll be crafting now at this point, usually I would craft arrows at this point, but since I don't have feathers, obviously I didn't have to do that. Also, because I didn't have feathers, I didn't have to dupe the flint, and I obviously didn't have to dupe feathers. So it's a minimal time save, really, because throwing out items takes almost no time, but it is something. So I get a diamond pickaxe, and I'm also going to craft some gold blocks now. The gold blocks are going to be used mostly for the beacon. I'm going to use them a little bit for pillaring, and I'm also going to use them to crash an off chapel later for overpowered. So anyway, obsidian is annoying. It takes 15 seconds to mine with a diamond pick, but I do need it because it's going to be the way to make nether portals, and nether portals are the best way to transport it around throughout the run. We're going to use nether portals a lot late in the run because they will get us to biomes or special biome triggers quickly. Since the nether has an 1/8 of the distance, or things are an 1/8 as far apart in the nether as they are in the overworld. So now there's going to be a lot more duplication, unfortunately. I'm going to need to get to 32 obsidian, or that's what I usually aim for. 32 is enough to make a portal into the nether here, and then to make one out of the nether once I'm in there. My first trip out of the nether is just going to take us straight to the stronghold. But we do need to do a few things there before that happens. Alright, so I think at this point there's one more duplication before I do some more crafting, which is right here obviously. This duplication here gets us to, I think, 8 obsidian and 40 diamonds. The 40 diamonds is enough to make our armor, which costs 24, and then a sword and an axe, which costs us 5 more, and that will leave us with 11 diamonds. Now that I think about it, 11 diamonds is actually enough for the rest of the run, but I usually do dupe it one more time, or 2 more times actually. I dupe it with the obsidian every time. Thinking about it, that's not actually really necessary, but it is what it is. I do it. Crafting is a little sloppy. I'm not great at crafting. That's definitely something that I can improve on as time goes on. But anyway. Oh, and I stacked the gold together there. That was really bothering me for a lot of the time. Anyway, another thing I do, if you haven't noticed by now, I'm leaving crafting benches everywhere. I don't think that's actually a good thing, especially now that I have a diamond axe, because I'm going to spend at least a little bit of time every time I need a crafting bench, crafting one basically. There are a few times where I actually remember to take it with me. But I like to leave them around everywhere, especially in places that I'm never going to come back to. Alright, so there's one more duplication, and then we get to 32 obsidian. I could alternatively do some of these dupes in the nether, but I don't think it really matters where I do them, just as long as I get them done. By the way, if you look at the real timer, you'll notice that there are no splits at the bottom. I actually do have a completed run before this, and that had a time of 1 hour and 11 minutes in game time. But for some reason, the splits didn't save on live split. It's probably something I messed up. I probably pressed no to save splits or something. But so there's no comparison there. In future runs I do, there will be a comparison, obviously, to this run. But this run was a 12-minute improvement on the previous record. So I think it was pretty significant. Anyway, we are now in the nether, so we have the achievement we need to go deeper. I can hear a ghast, which is nice, because Return to Sender is an achievement that we have to get at some point. Unfortunately, I don't see where the ghast is here, so I'm going to have to pass it by and hope to get Return to Sender later. Return to Sender is a really annoying achievement to get because it relies on having ghast spawn in ideal places. You hope they aren't too out of the way, but you take what you can get with that. Anyway, there's a blaze spawner right up here. Get into fire very quickly. So we are done with that. We already got Monster Hunter from the skeleton in the Desert Temple, but usually that would also get me Monster Hunter. We also broke through the glowstone there. I am going to need 1 piece of glowstone later because it makes more powerful potions, which will be helpful later in the run. So anyway, you may also notice that I use F3 occasionally. I don't really like using F3, but there are some points of the run where it's just absolutely necessary. And that one, I do want to make sure that I have the nether portal in the correct place. So I do use F3, and there's no real indications there of where the nether portal should go. So it's better to be safe. F3 is allowed for this category because of basically biome triggers in nether portals. But I do try to keep it off the screen as much as possible, although I'll forget sometimes. Anyway, we hit Extreme Hills and Extreme Hills Plus, going just in that little segment right there, which is nice. You notice there's a roof forest to the side. I did miss that here because it's not really ideal to go to it right now, but I do hit it at multiple points throughout the stronghold, so that's not something to be too concerned about. I also know exactly how many blocks down I have to dig here. It's 52, and those books that I dig at the end are also nice because we need books to get enchanting table and a bookshelf, which we need for enchanter and librarian. I think that's what the 2 achievements are called. Here I collect 9 string. The string is used for a fishing rod, a bow, and a piece of wool. So a skeleton shoots me there. That's annoying, but it's good because I do need arrows still. And we get them right there. So arrows are taken care of, which means I didn't have to reset, which obviously since you're watching the run I didn't. Now I come in here. This is the first place that we hit a roof forest. We hit it right there. I actually walk into the room just because the room has, or you need to walk past that door to get to the roof forest biome. You don't actually need to do that there, so I'm not really sure why I do, because we also hit a roof forest where we are right now. Anyway, it's a little dark right now, but I'm digging into a wall here. I dig 8 blocks back, and then with both blocks, and then I dig forward 4 blocks here to get to this chest, and I collect the apples from it. And like I said earlier, we need the apples to make a notch apple, which we use for overpowered, and notch apples become our main source of food because they give us the resistance and the other thing, fire resistance, and the very quick regeneration. So I've made my wool now that I'm in the end portal room, and I'm also going to make my fishing rod and my bow. And this part of the run is unfortunately a lot of crafting, a lot of duping. Nothing I can really do about that. I clear out my inventory with a nice lava pool there. And here I think I'm going to craft the notch apples now. I hope I remember to. Yeah, I do craft the notch apples at the start. That's the best time to craft them because you can dupe them more. It doesn't really matter. You'll get enough by the time you're done duping here. We need to do a lot of duplication. I almost threw out the wool there. That would have been bad. I do throw out the correct thing there. And I need to duplicate a blaze rod also so I can get blaze powder and a brewing stand. So anyway, for the next, I think 6 or so minutes, or no, it's more like 4 or 5, I'm going to be duplicating things. If you don't want to see that, basically all I do is collect items that are necessary for the dragon fight and later. And then I also get a couple achievements. I think I get the achievement Enchanter and I get Librarian. So if you don't want to see that, I'll leave a time to skip to here for right before I enter the end. And if you do want to see that, there's plenty of stuff to see here, I guess. But it is mostly duplicating items. It's a necessary evil in this run. We have to duplicate a lot, especially in the early parts. If there was something I could do to skip it, I would. So I believe that's the second duplication. So at this point, we're now going to make a bed and an ender eye. Oh, and I'm going to get Enchanter and Librarian here. There's Enchanter. And there's Librarian. So that's done. And I'm also going to make my anvil. Anvil is important because I don't think I mentioned this earlier. In that chest, I got 2 looting 2 books. So we're going to combine those looting 2 books once we get enough levels. And then I'm going to turn them into a looting 3 book and put it on the sword, which will make collecting a wither skull much faster later. So you saw me hover over the blaze powder at that point. I did it right after I threw out the ender pearl, so I noticed I forgot to craft my ender eye. There's obviously nothing I could do about it at this point, but it did mean I have to improvise a little bit on the duplicating. I have this duplicating mostly down to exactly how I want to do it, but occasionally I make some mistakes. I don't want to do an extra dupe here, so I make 2 ender eyes and just decide to dupe the blaze rod again. Because I do need the blaze powder later. Because blaze powder is how you get a strength potion, which is going to be the way I get local brewery. Anyway, I think there's only a couple more minutes of duping here. this should put me at 4 Eyes of Ender. Once I hit 4 Eyes of Ender, I only need to do 2 more times, but if I have 3, I also only need to do 2 more times. So I make an Ender chest here. The Ender chest will allow me to have higher inventory space, and I do need an Ender chest for later in the run anyway, because the Ender chest will allow me to put things in it and kill myself to warp faster, which will save some travel time. I'll talk about that more when I get to it, though. Alright, so this is the last duplication, I believe. I duplicated an ender chest there so I could place one down here and make more inventory space for myself. The reason I want more inventory space... Oh, I make my ruin stand too. The reason I want more inventory space here is so I can fill my inventory with more beds. 4 is enough to kill the dragon, but it's much better to be safe about it, and I'd rather be safe than not. I also forget to duplicate that stack of ender pearls in slot 9 there, which is a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's not a huge deal. But I like to have more ender pearls if I can. Not for the end fight, but for later in the run. You need a lot of them. But anyway, I think this is my last duplication. Have to see just to be sure, but... yeah, that's the last duplication. So I eat a couple notch apples, get myself the resistance and the regen, the fire resistance, and enter the end. Here we go. We spawn out a little bit away and ender pearl on. And this is a fairly typical dragon fight. Just take out the pillars with arrows, which I had 2 stacks of just to be safe. You almost never need 2 stacks, even when there are a lot of pillars, especially with a lot of experience. After grinding set seed for so many times, I've gotten decent at the dragon fight. Still not that great. Look at all the arrows I've missed it so far. But this end is fairly good. Only 11 crystals. I actually wish I'd get more ends like this in set seed runs. But it's still great to have it here. All achievements, the end time isn't nearly as important as it is in set seed, since in set seed it's 50% of the run. In this, it's just a little small segment. And like every other part, it's subject to RNG. But it can obviously be done better with more skill. Which, I miss a lot of shots here. I get that one pretty well. But there's still a lot of improvement to be done. I'll get better eventually. I wasn't ready for the dragon to come there, but that's okay. It would have been good to hit him with a bed there because it was unlikely he was going to go back for this crystal. But anyway, now I'm done with this. You may notice I'm using the water, or I put the water bucket on the bar in slot 5 instead of the flint and steel. The water bucket is not at all necessary for this, since I have fire resistance from the notch apples, but I do like it to get the fire off my screen. And there is downtime in the end, since the dragon... You do have to wait for the dragon to come after you. For those of you that don't know, in Phase 2 of the end, the fastest way to kill the dragon is the beds. Beds do a lot of explosive damage. And here I messed up. I looked at a few Endermen. Oh, and I also missed that crystal. Forgot about that part. But yeah, I have to kill some Endermen. And this is actually a bad time to have to kill Endermen because I missed the dragon there. And I should have had a bed ready. But I didn't. It is what it is. Cost me a little bit of time. If you're doing this run, or any run that involves the end, be careful with where you're looking. Don't look at the Enderman. They will get in your way and they'll annoy you. But anyway, there's the second hit on the dragon with a bed. It's going pretty well. Oh, and I get the anvil on the bar there. I want to get it out of my inventory as soon as possible. So we get a third hit on the dragon. Third hit is also fairly good. It's a little bit high on health for 3 hits, but it's not bad. And I get a nice hit with the bow there. And another nice hit with the bow. And that's it. End is done. So the end was only about 3.5 minutes, which is pretty good. I'm gonna go collect a little bit of experience. I think I need around 13 levels. We need to combine the 2 looting books, which cost 6, and then, yeah, 13 levels, 7 for the looting 3 sword. But yeah, there's the end. And this is actually a very good time because it's still night, or it's still during the first night in the game. So I'm going to put an ender chest on the ground, collect my stuff that I left there. And then I want to make another chest, just a normal one this time. And I'm going to use that to store some stuff here at spawn. I am going to throw out the beds here because I don't need them anymore. And then I'm going to duplicate the ender pearls I have. And I duplicated my arrows again. I don't need that many arrows. I already have a full stack, but this will give me a stack and a half. Or almost 2 stacks, I guess. I didn't realize I had so many. Only used 39 in the end. And a decent amount of those were just shooting at the dragon. Alright. So now I'm going to... I think I'm going to duplicate things again. I get the ender chest off the bar. I don't want to place it on accident, because if I place it, I don't really have a good way to get it again. I can duplicate my blaze powder and make another Eye of Ender, but I don't really want to do that. It wastes a decent amount of time, especially with my low crafting skill. Alright, so I'm done duplicating here. I think I'm done duplicating here. I hope I am. But anyway, I have everything I need. I'm gonna store a few things in the chest here, just because I don't have the inventory space for all the things I'm gonna collect later. And yeah, let's see. I think I'm gonna store the gold also. I'm not gonna store the diamonds though, because there's a small chance I can get diamonds to you right now. Diamonds to you is an achievement where you throw diamonds at another player, but it also works if you throw a diamond at a zombie, and it picks it up. So, really not a good idea to take them with me right now, because nightfall is pretty much over. And when the night's over, I'm not going to see any zombies during this segment. You may notice that the segment is called Suicide. That's because I use a suicide warp to get back to spawn right there, and that's why I put the chest there, so I can collect items later. And I have the ender chests there so that I can use an ender chest later, or to put the rest of my stuff in an ender chest. You may notice I'm hitting the swampland right here. The swamp is the 9th biome we've hit that counts towards adventuring time, so that's always nice. And over there's a Forest Hills. This is the only place I know of to get Forest Hills in this run. I'm sure there are more places, but this is the easiest, so I'm going to hit the Forest Hills there, and I actually checked a 3 just to make sure I have it. Here I hit Plains, which is the 11th biome, and go through it fairly quickly. Here's the Mesa, which is the 12th biome, and I collect 8 red sand here. I'm going to use that for glass, 3 glass for a glass bottle for a local brewery, and then also 5 glass for the beacon when I need to make that. Here I'm trying to find the river biome. The entire river is actually not a river. Some of it's a mesa biome, which is kind of annoying. But I hit the river here. That's biome number 13. And now that I'm in the mesa, I do need to hit Mesa Plateau and Mesa Plateau F, which will be the 14th and 15th biomes. Another thing that I haven't really talked about yet is you may notice that I'm now using ender pearls for travel. Ender pearls are nice for traveling across the rough terrain. And ender pearls also do damage to you every time you use them. That's what the notch apples are really good for, is because of the fast regen, we don't have to worry about that damage too much. Anyway, this is biome number 16. We hit the savannah, and this is the most annoying thing that slows down the run a little bit is these chickens. We need an egg. We need one egg because we need to bake a cake later on. That kind of sucks because chickens will lay an egg. I think it's somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes, or every 5 and 10 minutes. They're in loaded chunks, but since we just loaded these chickens and since we're moving around a lot, we need to keep these chickens loaded for 5 to 10 minutes to get an egg. Now, in original versions of the run, we used to just sit here and keep them loaded. We've changed that a little bit, but there's some other things we can do. Like go fishing, because we need to cook a fish for the achievement Delicious Fish. And I also collected 2 sugar there. That's also for the cake. And I'm going to cook my fish here. I should have waited to cook the fish. That's okay, though. And I'm also going to collect some wood since I forgot to dupe the wood when I was at spawn there. So I don't have very much. Now I have 32. That's a decent amount. But yeah, collect my seed here. Get rid of that fish. It's not very useful. We don't need the furnaces anymore. And I'm collecting my squad of chickens with this seed. This is the current strategy for kind of moving things along while the chickens are following us. We just collect a large squad of chickens because if you have enough chickens, chances are one of them will lay an egg close to 5 minutes. And we're going to bring them along to our next destination. And our next destination will be coming up pretty soon. Our ultimate destination here is the Savannah Plateau biome. The Savannah Plateau is something where we need to be. It's our 17th biome. I think it's 17th. That sounds right. So we do need to hit it, but it's kind of away from everything else. So anyway, I have 4 chickens left, but I did hit my pigs here. You may notice the saddle is the 8th item in my inventory. So we are going to get when pigs fly right here. There's a fairly basic setup for when pigs fly. Yeah, you knock a pig into a 2 deep hole. Then you dig down, I believe it's 10 blocks. I think I accidentally dig down 11 here. But that's not a huge deal. But yeah, we want these 2x2 holes. You might be able to do it with just 1x1 holes. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it out. I may actually try that going forward. But anyway, we dig our hole here. Ender pearl out of it. And then we are ready to collect when pigs fly. Now take a close look at my health here. I'm currently at 6.5 hearts. I'm going to push this pig off the edge and then click on him so I get when pigs fly. I'm now at 4 hearts. I'm going to throw this ender pearl here. As you know, ender pearls do damage. And I'm now at 3 hearts. Half a heart. So my run came very, very close to being over right there. Now I collect the chickens. I didn't actually notice my health up to this point. I notice it right here and think, oh no, I almost died. So I eat the notch apple and this little thing happens where the chickens take forever to notice that you're holding seeds. So I went and collected the 3rd one. And these chickens, I think, eventually decided to notice me again. So I now have 3 chickens with me. Considering I had 4, that's pretty decent. They tend to spread out when you're getting when pigs fly, so I don't always get them all to follow me again. But that's not a huge deal. I also keep that 8th slot in my inventory open just so I know when I've collected the egg immediately. It's a little bit dangerous because if you throw the egg, you're in trouble, especially if you only have 1 chicken with you. This time I'm lucky and I have 3, but occasionally I go out with only 1. So anyway, here's just me and my squad of chickens. It's pretty fun. I lost 1 there, I think. Yeah. Oh no, I still have 3. Alright, I almost fell in a hole there. That would have been something. I don't really know the savannah well enough to be walking backwards through it, so you notice I start checking my way here. But anyway, this is a huge improvement over what used to happen, since we used to just sit and wait for the chicken to lay an egg, which didn't really cost too much time in the end, but it did cost us enough time because we obviously didn't have the chicken. So I didn't actually hear the popping sound there. I'm pretty sure the pop did happen. So I heard the egg come out, and I went and collected it. So now I'm ender pearling again. Unfortunately, I do need to take a notch apple there before I start throwing pearls, because I throw enough pearls that I would have died if I didn't take the notch apple. But we are now at the Savannah Plateau. This is the 17th biome, and this is where I'm going to do a suicide warp. So I put down the ender chest. I'm going to put some useful items in there. I actually decided not to keep the cobblestone since I'm going to do some digging later that I'm going to get a lot of cobble back. And I don't think I actually need cobble for anything else in the run. But yeah, I remembered to get rid of my armor. It's not a huge deal if I don't, because I can just craft it with the diamonds I have. But anyway, there's some fall damage. And the fastest way I know of to kill myself in this situation is just to suffocate myself with sand. So here it is. The suicide split is fairly consistent, because there's not really much RNG other than the chickens, and if you have enough chickens, you almost always collect an egg sometime fairly quickly. But anyway, now I'm just going to get things ready in my inventory, and then we're going to be off to the next destination. I still have 2 stacks of arrows. That's way too many, but it doesn't really matter now. My inventory space isn't a huge concern anymore. In my earlier runs of this, I had a lot more problems with inventory space, but as I've gotten better at the run, it's become less of an issue. So anyway, we're just going through some swamps here. Put the diamonds on the bar, because the next thing we're going to go for is diamonds for you. I actually put the water bucket in the bars, so I get rid of the water there. We didn't need the water at any point, so except to make the lava into obsidian at the very beginning. So anyway, we're going to the coordinates 500, 169 here, and I'm going to dig down into a cave. The reason I'm digging down into this cave is because it has a zombie spawner, so we can somewhat efficiently work towards diamonds for you. It also has a few items in the dungeon chests that are important. It gives us 2 more buckets, which we're going to need for milk, for when we bake a cake. And it has, well, you'll see when I get here. So I throw some diamonds on the ground to hope that the zombies that are here help me. I do want to get my inventory a little bit clear so I can pick up rotten flesh that comes down, because I don't want the zombies picking up the rotten flesh. I think that blocks them from picking up diamonds, though I'm not sure. But anyway, my general strategy here is to basically throw some diamonds on the ground and hit them with my hands until I decide that they can't pick up items with or that it's a zombie that can't pick up items, and then I throw the diamonds at them. This part is a little bit RNG dependent, but it's usually not worse than 2 to 3 minutes. And there's a couple things I can do in the downtime. Not much, but I can organize my inventory. I can bake bread, which baking bread is nice because it needs to be done at some point. Might as well do it here. The 8 wheat I collected from the chests is nice because it's 3 for the bread, 3 for the cake, and then 2 for repopulation, which is breeding 2 cows. So it's just as many as I need. And I get diamonds to you right there. That was pretty fast. Very good time for diamonds for you. Break the zombie spawner just to be safe. I put the diamonds away, don't need them anymore. And I'm going to make another portal, and we're going to jump right back into the nether. And the nether is going to be our home for a lot of the rest of the run. And we're going to use it to warp around to different places and do things kind of quickly and efficiently. So we come back and connect back to the same portal we had at the beginning, which is fine, because I know where to go from here. I don't think this is actually the fastest way to get to the place I need, so I need to look into that. But I do hear ghasts again, which is nice, so we can try to go for ghast. So I come down here and take a turn, and a ghast shoots at me, which is great, because we can now get return to sender, which is sometimes a very problematic achievement. Now I could have got it with that first shot if I had jumped before I shot my bow. There's also a blaze behind us, but it doesn't matter because I have fire resistance. The blazes stop becoming a threat very quickly. Anyway, this ghast is being a little bit annoying, but return to center comes right there. I have no reason to kill these blades. I don't know why I did. But I'm going to jump up here with an ender pearl and move on. This is also something I started doing recently, is using ender pearls to go through this tunnel. And I need to dig 5 into this one once I get to the part where I need to dig 2. And I'm happy I know this location now because it's annoying to have F3 on the screen. But this is our next nether portal location. So this nether portal is almost entirely used for biomes, but I also do grab a couple of extra achievements here because there are cows in this place, so I can get some stuff out of my inventory. So we are now in the taiga, which means I can very quickly get taiga hills, which is right on top of this mountain. So here's my taiga hills. I'm going to throw away some extra items, just get things ready, and get my wheat on the bar. I was actually concerned here that I messed up, but I don't have particles on, so I do get repopulation there for breeding the cows. Then I'm going to milk them, and I now have everything I need to bake a cake, which gets a lot of items out of my inventory, which is pretty awesome. I actually moved into the jungle edge there just so the jungle edge registers while I'm getting this. Jungle edge, taiga, and taiga hills are my 18th through 20th biomes, and I'm going to get 21 and 22 when I hit the normal jungle and the jungle hills, which there's jungle, and jungle hills are right up on over here. So there's jungle hills, and I now have every biome I need here, so I'm going to go back into the nether. Little bit of block lag there. It is what it is. Block lag happens. I don't know if I talked about this before, but you may notice that I'm using Optifine. Optifine is allowed for these runs for computer or for performance issues only. My computer struggles a little bit with Minecraft. I know that's a little disappointing, but it is what it is. Optifine helps with that. As long as you don't go any or over any vanilla limits to the game, Optifine is allowed. So anyway, we're going to do some more nether transport. Fell into a little hole there. And apparently I actually need to break that block to get out. But we go over to that segment of the fortress, and we get our nether wart. So I now have everything I need to make a potion. I have the brewing stand, the nether wart, the water bottle, the glowstone, and the blaze powder, which will all in all get me a strength 2 potion. Now the run is a little bit, what happens now is a little unfortunate, because I need to hunt for a wither skull. And this was very close. The correct thing to do there, when I fell in that hole, is to save and quit because it negates the fall damage. I placed a block there and hit half a heart again. That is a bad decision. The mistake isn't too costly time-wise. I do have to pellet her out, but it doesn't take more than 20 or 30 seconds, which is time obviously better spent hunting for wither skulls. But it's better than dying. Death, obviously, at this point in the run just means run's over, because there's no recollecting the items that you have. So anyway, I'm going to place a brewing stand here at a centralized location that I'm going to keep passing by. And every time I pass by it, I'm going to add a new ingredient. And that's going to get a lot of things out of my inventory. Inventory space is no longer an issue now that repopulation is done, especially now that I'm throwing items into the brewing stand. So that's nice. So now, this segment is a little unfortunate. I do have to just basically run back and forth, hope I find wither skeletons. There's a general strategy to it. I usually run to the end of this pathway each time, and then I hope that new things spawn when I come back. It's all about cycling through mob spawns for spawning the wither skeletons, and then obviously I have to kill them and get a wither skull. The looting 3 diamond sword helps, but I think it's still only around a 1 in 20 chance. It's very annoying when you get to the wither skeleton and then it drops a stone sword. That's its other rare drop, and stone swords are completely useless. there's not really much else to note here other than I do keep my 9 slot open. The reason for that is that just so I can see when I get the Wither Skull, I guess. There's nothing super extra with that. The glowstone there gets me a potion of strength 2, which is nicer than strength 1. Strength 2 is useful for a couple reasons. I'm going to use it to kill the Wither more quickly than I would otherwise. And it also gets me the overkill achievement. Strength 1 is good enough for overkill also with a crit. But strength 2 gets it, which is nice. So I'd rather have strength 2, especially when I'm hunting for Wither skeletons and don't have time to waste. So I went up there that time just to, I don't know, try to cycle through the spawns. I'm pretty lost of what to do at this point in the run when I don't have Wither Skulls, but I do see some Wither Skulls over there, so, or Wither Skeletons. So I'm just gonna, well, one Wither Skeleton. One Wither Skeleton is better than nothing. But didn't get anything, so just gonna move on. And I have this really nice Ender Pearl toss. Look at that. I escaped there just to make sure that I'm not going to die in the lava. So here's another little time waster. I'm not super great at nether transport. It's hard to see exactly where you're going. But there's nothing I can really... Well, there's a lot I can do about it. I can get better at the nether, but ideally I would have already had a Wither Skull by now, so I wouldn't have to worry about all this. I was using obsidian for a while there. It's better to use my cobble because I don't need the cobble for anything else at this point in the run. In previous runs, I made a piston and a lever with the cobble, which was to set up for the wither. I've stopped doing that since though. Or I stopped doing it in this run. I may go back to doing it. I don't know. I haven't quite decided. So I'm just going to ender pearl up to this little segment. That's right where my potion is. And I get to collect my potion. You may notice there's a normal skeleton there. Normal skeleton and a wither skeleton. Normal skeletons have a 20% chance to spawn in the nether. So I'm actually going to leave that guy there and go fight this wither skeleton. I actually want this skeleton in a nice specific place, which is out here on this bridge somewhere. So I'm going to get him to walk out onto the bridge. And then once I have him out on the bridge where I can see him, I shoot this blaze. Don't really need to. He's not hurting anyone, especially not me with my fire resistance. But I'm going to ender pearl out, let the skeleton be. This was a setup that was recommended to me by Cubi, who has made a lot of optimizations to the run. The other person who really did pretty much all the run routing at the start was HardRocker. So credit goes to him for making this run really a possibility. It's only been around for about 2 weeks, so he's done a huge amount of stuff. And HardRocker and Cubi did most of the routing for this. I've done some small optimizations, but most of the credit goes to them. Anyway, the achievement I'm getting here and why I put that skeleton in a specific place on that bridge was to get the sniper duel achievement, which is killing a skeleton from 50 meters with a bow. I'm awful at this achievement, but Cubi told me that this bridge over here is 50 blocks away from the other one, about. So I can get sniper duel very easily there. And that was awesome because up to that point, I was doing a really slow setup because I'm not very good at using a bow, especially to kill skeletons, and at that distance too. So that was a tremendous help to me. Anyway, I went back to the blaze spawner there. I'm just going around hoping to get a wither skeleton. I'll probably include a link at some point if you want to skip ahead to when I actually get the wither skull. But I will tell you, there's all my arrows from missing sniper duel. But yeah, I will tell you that my wither skull split is pretty bad. And this is one of the huge parts of the run that can change and get better because, or just get better RNG. RNG here is slow. This wither split is about probably 5 minutes slower than it needs to be, maybe 10. And not sure what I can really do about that, but when the run improves, other than the huge execution mistakes I'm making, that's one of the biggest things that will definitely improve in a good run. Diamond Skew was fast at least, though. And I did get my arrows even though I didn't get feathers, so that was nice. And Return to Sender went well. And even Sniper Duel went well, so... For all the bad RNG in this part, there was a lot of good things that happened too. Let's see. I look out there just to see if I see anything. I know wither skeletons sometimes spawn there. I can hope. Although, hope is a lot of times all I have. Well, I'm not actually even sure what I'm doing right now. I guess I'm just waiting, hoping mobs will spawn in my waiting time. I'm burning through my ender pearls very quickly here too. I don't think I need too many of them, but not at this point in the run. Oh, actually, I will need some later. Alright, I'm going to move back into the fortress, into the buried part of the fortress. At least at this point, I don't need a ghast anymore. Getting Return to Sender right at the start of my second nether trip was awesome. A lot of times, that's either the last or the second to last achievement I get. Sometimes I have to wait. I had one run, or one practice run, where I got adventuring time, but I didn't have Return to Sender yet, and the time was already around 1 hour and 20 minutes, so I just ended the run there. No reason to really keep it going. Just to hunt for a ghast. I also had a run where I didn't get Sniper Duel. Like I said, I used to set up Sniper Duel in the overworld, but now there's really no good place to do it because it's not... when I used to do the Suicide Split, it used to be nighttime when I passed near the Savannah Plateau. But since I've gotten better at the run, it's not nighttime there anymore, so I always suicide during the day, so I can't even set up Sniper Duel if I wanted to. So I guess that's good training because it forces me to do it here. But here we go. Let's keep going. There's the blaze spawner again. I think that was the blaze spawner. I might just be seeing it wrong. Here's some wither skeletons. There's about 5 of them, so you'd hope, well, there's 3. You'd hope this would get for me, and there it is. So, finally, wither skull. I'm going to go over here. There's some soul sand right here. This is my normal wither skull hunting location. So I now have the soul sand to hunt for the wither. And I'm going to dupe some things. And I actually have a lot of trouble with multi-item duping in the nether. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if it's like a lag issue or something like that. But this dupe works perfectly fine for me a lot of times in the overworld. But for some reason in the nether, it just doesn't for me. I don't know what that is. Maybe I'm just making mistakes and they happen to be in the nether every time I do it. I did make one earlier in the run too, but yeah, this duplication doesn't work. So I was going to do more items there, but I guess just the wither skull's fine. It does mean I'm going to be a little bit short on ender pearls though, which is scary because the ender pearls are the main transportation method and you don't want to be missing ender pearls. So anyway, I'm just going to do one more dupe here. Actually, maybe 2. I think I did 2 more. Because I did want some other items. But I just need to do one more dupe to get my 3rd wither head. Oh, I had a stone sword there. I'm glad the wither skeletons were nice enough to drop that one at least. Wither skeletons always drop stone swords when you don't want them. I don't think I ever got rid of this one. Now my inventory is no longer a problem, so... inventory space used to be a problem at this point because I used to get repopulation with mushrooms when I hit the mushroom island. But since I hit get the cows in the taiga hills, it's no longer needed. So anyway, I'm going to make a crafting bench here. There are a couple things I want to craft. And right now I believe, let's see, yeah, I'm crafting rails, which are nice for, or which are needed for on a rail. Now, on a rail is to travel 1,000 blocks on a minecart track in one direction. I'm not going to actually place 1,000 rails down. Don't worry. But I do need to travel 1,000 blocks. So there's a glitch that we will use later for that. I actually did get off a multi-item dupe there. It's only 2 items. I don't know what it is, like I said, why I mess it up, but it happens a lot that I fail it in the nether. And one day I'll figure it out. So anyway, I'm finally done getting all the items I want. We're going to now go up into the ceiling, and I'm going to kill the wither. Now, I used to use a setup to kill the wither that involved a piston and a lever, and I would and what you do is basically piston the wither into you piston the wither into the bedrock, and then you can hit it and it won't be able to get out. I think there's a video by Panda that I'll link in the description that shows how to do that. But I decided not to do that this time. Cubi told me he just kills it with strength, and it messes up the terrain a little bit, but that was it. So I trust him, and I decided I was going to try it this time, and we'll see how it goes. So anyway, let's get ready. I'm going to clear out a small space here. Clearing out the space, I don't need much space for this, but I think I cleared out a lot anyway. Well, no, I only clear out 3x5. It'll be a lot bigger by the end of the wither fight, don't worry. So I'm going to get the soul sand ready. And here we go, the most fun fight in the game coming up. And this also gets us a couple achievements, the beginning and the beginning. First one, a question. So here we go, let's kill the wither with strength 2. He blows up 2 lava pockets right away, that's great. And here's the problem I'm having. I can't hit the wither from here with the sword. I did get overkill, by the way, with the strength 2 potion because I dealt 9 hearts of damage in a single hit. So that's nice. That's what the strength potion is mainly used for. And the only other way to get overkill other than a strength potion is with a sharpness enchant, but we don't get lapis at all during the run. So yeah, the wither's being a little bit problematic here, which is why I think I'm just going to do the setup from now on. It wastes a little bit of time in crafting a piston and a lever, but I think it might be worth it. And notice my hearts are at 1 heart right now. So I'm glad I noticed in time because I needed to get that notch apple off. Anyway, wither's in second phase now. Second phase is easy because second phase he attacks you, so I can hit him with the sword the whole time. Get some crits with the sharpness or with the strength. Anyway, get the beacon or the nether star, and we're done with that. Now, usually at this point in the run, I craft the beacon, which I don't there. Oh, I hit the wither split kind of on time there. Not really, but more on time than I ever have in the past, so that's nice. Yeah, normally at this point in the run, I craft a beacon. I didn't this time, because I forgot to. Which probably isn't a huge deal, but you'll see what that does later on. So anyway, now we're going for some very specific coordinates. Fastest way to do it is just shoot ender pearls until I get there. I need to get 1,000 blocks away from my destination so I can get on a rail. And once I'm there, I will execute a glitch that will get me on a rail. You may notice I'm only down to 14 notch apples. That's plenty. 14's fine. Not going to run out anytime soon. Anyway, the coordinates I'm looking for are -497, -899. And once I get there, I will explain the glitch that's going to happen. So we're almost there. And alright. So I'm going to get some rails on my bar. Now I want to put the rails in... I put that rail in the wrong place. I want to put the rails in -497, -899. And then these 2 locations, which will give me that diagonal rail. And then 4 blocks away from the diagonal rail, I want a sloped powered rail. And you get a sloped power rail by connecting a power rail up there and then breaking that powered rail. And then I accidentally made some sticks there. I'm going to make a button. And you put the button there. And then on this sloped power rail, we want 4 minecarts, which I will accidentally get into first, but you can do that by clicking on the rails hitbox. And once I get that, you press the button and we go. So at this point I'm going to ride 1,000 blocks. I'm not going to talk through this whole thing, so I'll probably put some music here and come back when I get to the end. Alright, wasn't that fun? So we have on a rail. We've traveled 1,000 blocks on a train in one direction on train tracks, for sure. I messed up the portal there. Not a big deal. But it actually works out for the better. Because normally when I make this portal, I actually spawn underground. I know that it's possible to not spawn underground, because Cubi has done it, and I think I've done it a couple times too. But it actually worked out on this one, with taking the portal to a different place, so that was great. And I hit my stone beach here, which is the 23rd biome. And notice another thing. I'm using all my wood on boats, and I forgot to craft a beacon. So I'm now going off into the ocean, biome number 24, and I don't have my beacon. This isn't the end of the world. There are plenty of places to get wood later, but it does mean I have to get wood later. I'm kind of amazed that I actually ran out of wood. I don't think I've ever done that before. You notice a little bit of lag there. That's just the terrain loading in. We're loading a lot of new chunks because I'm moving quickly through the ocean, and you can see the Mushroom Island going into the horizon there. By the way, at some point here I hit deep ocean. I'm there right now. That's biome number 25. And here's a beautiful sight. Look at that boat break early. It's Minecraft boats. What a wonderful invention. I'm glad they work properly. Anyway, biome number 26 is Mushroom Island Shore, and 27 is Mushroom Island. At this point I notice, you can see the moment of hesitation, I notice I don't have my beacon or any wood. I was trying to figure out what I needed to do there, and I remembered there is wood at a place I'm going to visit just right after this, so not a huge deal. It doesn't really cost any time, other than the time it takes to mine a log, which is pretty much nothing. Not a big deal. So anyway, doing some duplication here. Gotta get all the items I think I need. I was actually doing some pretty serious mental math here. I couldn't remember exactly how many blocks I needed for a beacon. I knew it was going to be close with the amount of gold I just duped. I had 80, so I'm going to have 160 here. I was counting in my head and got that a beacon needs 164 blocks, which is correct. So I knew I needed to dupe the gold one more time, or a little bit of the gold. This is a little weird. The game didn't maximize right, so it's going to be in the bottom left corner for this dupe. Sorry about that. It bothered me as much as it probably might bother you. Accidentally duped a boat there. There is actually a nice way to dupe one item. It's a tick perfect dupe. If you throw an item on the ground and press escape, and on the frame, or not the frame, the tick that you are picking up the item, and then save and quit there, the item will duplicate when you reload the world. You don't have to force quit or anything. It's just a little thing. But I'm actually not very good at that yet. It's slightly faster. But it is what it is. This is why I have 3 boats instead of 2. That squid, I came pretty close to it. You don't want your boat breaking in the middle of the ocean and to not have any more. That's always a disaster. And there's nothing you can really do about it either. You have to go down to the ocean floor to put a crafting bench down, I guess, which obviously at this point I don't have one anymore, so. That would have probably actually ended my run, because I wouldn't know what to do if that happened. I don't know that there's much I could have done. Anyway, there's some more squids. Try to make this boat trip a little exciting. So what we're doing here, it's crazy that this is the fastest place to get this, but we need to get our beach biome, and here's the beach off in this little tiny island. It's biome number 28. I make a huge mistake here. I threw an ender pearl into the water. Now, don't throw ender pearls in the water. I should have just gone to the end, or edge there, but the ender pearl in the water has lower momentum, so I fall to the bottom of the ocean once it hits, and I have to get back out. That costs probably, I don't know, 20 to 30 seconds. At least I got the leaves out of the way. Now here's where I should have, well, I didn't even go for that tree, so never mind. Doesn't even matter, I got the leaves out of the way. I made sure I hit the beach there. It doesn't really matter, I'm going to craft a beacon here. So now I make the crafting table, and not sure why I grabbed the stone sword. Maybe I was considering throwing it out, but I knew the inventory doesn't matter. So anyway, here's my beacon. So in case you don't know, the beacon has to get the Beaconator achievement, you need to make a full beacon. That zombie's not going to be a problem because he can't get out. The full beacon has a 9x9 layer, a 7x7 layer, a 5x5 layer, and a 3x3 layer. So that's 164 blocks in total. That's one of the big reasons we use glitches in this run, is because it's fairly unreasonable to try to get that much metal in a short amount of time, or in any reasonable amount of time for a speedrun. I think the best way to do it would be probably through trading with a giant wheat farm, slowly built up over time, so you can grab things from farmers and librarians, emeralds, that is. But that would still take forever. Definitely not worth doing, probably, as a run. I think it'd get boring really fast. But anyway, here is my beacon. It takes a couple seconds for the achievement to register. I don't need to break this block there to get the achievement, it doesn't matter. But now I'm going to make my nether portal and get out of here. We have 8 more biomes to hit, and then that's it. I have every other achievement already in the game. So if you did watch my previous run, I didn't know this part of the route. That was the first time I had done this, and I only knew the coordinates because Cubi had just told me recently before when we were racing. So I didn't do this part very well. I actually know where to go now. So you throw an ender pearl down there, then toss an ender pearl over at this mountain, and up on this mountain. And then we have a location that's over lava over here that I need to get to. The coordinates are 275, negative 92. About. That should be good enough. So just build my way over to that. I went 1 block less than I think I should have there, but I don't think it mattered because it still gets me to here. Now, if you know about nether portals in 1.8, you know that you spawn 1 block out of the nether portal. I hate that glitch, but that's actually going to be a problem. You can see it right there. I spawned on the ice block. Since I built that nether portal over lava, that's actually going to become a problem here. But anyway, I hit my cold beach, my ice plains, and my ice mountains here. And I also hit the frozen river, so that's biomes 29 through 36. You may notice I did, like I said earlier, I spend a little bit of time in each biome just so I make sure it registers in the game. Because sometimes it doesn't if you don't. So anyway, yeah, I didn't build any protection, spawned 1 block to the side, ended up in the lava. That's great. I'll make sure to avoid that in the future. Missed this ender pearl too. Well, also great. So yeah, definitely still a lot to be better in the nether execution. I had a good idea of where to go here, but I did miss a few things. Did get a little bit confused. The fire in my face doesn't help, especially when I don't know the route really that well. This will get improved with time though. Since we're near the end, I will say that this run is good. It's a 12-minute improvement on the previous record, as I said earlier, but it still has a lot to improve, obviously. And one of these things is obviously the nether, and RNG on the wither skull is obviously a huge one that can go down. For times that I think this run can hit, I think we can easily get into the low 50s as the run goes on, but I think maybe we can even go sub 50, which a few days ago, this run is only a couple weeks old, but a few days ago we were talking about maybe at 120. So the run has advanced a lot here. Oh, I messed up another nether portal. That was nice. Good thing I have a lot of obsidian. This is the last nether portal I need to make in the entire run, so it is done after this. I'm done with the nether. I already have Return to Sender. I have Sniper Duel. So I have everything I need. I've got 9 notch apples left, so 48 was plenty. In the past, I actually needed more than a stack. So I've gotten a lot better about that. This is the Cold Taiga, which is biome 33, and right next to it, right over here, is the Cold Taiga Hills, which is biome 34. One other thing to note is there are a couple biomes that aren't included in the biome list. Hell and the End are 2 of them. Another one is ice plain spikes, which you may notice I didn't go to. But yeah, there's Mega Taiga and there's Mega Taiga Hills, and once adventuring time pops up, the run is over. And I split a little bit late there, but now I'm just verifying the achievements. My final time there is 59:22:35, which is, for me, it's a really good time. I'm really happy about it. So anyway, there's 6 achievements. I have those 3 and these 3, so that's 12. And like I said, at this point, it's just verifying that I have everything. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this time will be improved in the future. And see you next time. Bye.